Hey, what's up YouTube family? Welcome back to another video. So in this one, we're going to be talking about what is the state of the British pound right now. What's sort of affecting it, what's going on, etc., etc. So the current date today is October 5th. Although I'm going to release it in probably like 2 days or something. So right now it's October 5th. Um, October 15th is going to be a very important date for the British pound. October 15th. Now, we're going to get into that in a second. But first, let me just say, I'm not showing my face in this video because I was feeling lazy. And yeah, that's the explanation. um, Besides that, if you aren't already, do subscribe down below. And then also, if you liked the video, give it a nice thumbs up because that does help the channel grow. And it will also encourage me to make more content. So, anyways, with all that being said, let's jump right into the video. So, what is this about October 15th? This is the deadline that Boris Johnson, Prime Minister of the UK, wants to get a Brexit deal done, right? So you have the UK and you have the EU, and they've been going back and forth for years, basically, trying to come up with a trade agreement. Since the UK was once a part of the EU, right? This is the EU, this is the UK, and then they decided, you know what, we would do better if we weren't, supporting all these broke countries. We're just going to pop out here and do our own thing. And so that obviously, the EU has some negative sentiment. And also, the UK sort of wants its sort of trading privileges it had before. And the EU is like, well, you kind of left, so too bad. So anyways, they've been going back and forth. Hasn't been going too well. But they are trying. They are trying to come to a deal. And last time they came to a deal about a year ago, and then they decided to extend it and whatever. The pound shot up, right? Like hundreds and hundreds of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pips in a few days once they struck a deal. And I'm expecting something similar because both sides, want to get a deal done. Now it's going to be tough, and there's going to be some compromises made, most likely. Both sides are sort of bluffing, being, both sides are like, well, if we don't get a deal, too bad, it's their fault. They're not being flexible, right? Both sides are sort of saying that. But I do think there will be a deal. I do think there will be a deal. Hopefully before October 15th, so that's in the next 2 weeks, and I think we should see a nice pound rally, right? Of course, no one can tell the future, and if the opposite comes true, and there is no deal done, and everything sort of falls apart again, you could expect the pound to sell off. However, I do think the probability is a bit more to the upside. And I also think the amount of movement, I think the upside's greater than if there was a deal versus if there's not a deal. I don't think the downside will be as great as the upside, just because the market, has prepared for a no deal for years now, almost. 2016 was when they decided to leave. I mean, it's been 4 years now, so it's been a while. It's been a journey. Anyone that's been keeping track of this, because they're a trader, or maybe you just live in these areas, it's been crazy. Yeah, but anyways, let's talk about something else, right? Because obviously we have that going on for the pound, but what else is going to influence it in the next couple weeks? BOE, otherwise known as Bank of England. So central banks are really important when it comes to any currency, right? Central banks, this is going to be a bank here. Central banks have a large influence on currencies and what they do. And so you always need to sort of be keeping track of what's going on with a country's central bank if you're going to trade that currency for a longer period of time, right? There's no one way to trade. You can trade short term, scalping. You don't need to know really too much about fundamentals, but it definitely helps. It definitely helps. And yeah, I think there's a place for it in probably everybody's analysis, no matter what kind of strategy you have. So I think it's useful to learn it. Um, yeah, I've learned more about the financial markets in the last year of keeping on top of all this stuff than I think I ever would have in like if I had a master's in economics. You just learn like so much by keeping on top of it on a day-to-day basis. But anyways, let's talk about Bo. So the Bank of England, basically the question is about negative rates, right? Because they have a pretty low interest rate. They've done quantitative easing. The next step for a lot of central banks is just the question of, do they want negative interest rates? And I think they're nearing toward it. They're getting there, and so that's going to cause a bit of pressure on the pound. Negative rates is not, it's going to hurt a currency. It certainly won't help the price. Investors will sell off the currency if negative rates is expected, right? Doesn't necessarily like the thing you understand is the markets try to react before something actually happens. So it's sort of one step ahead. And so because of that, even if negative rates are just expected, if they say, okay, we think we're going to be doing negative rates in the next couple months, well, the pound will probably sell off because the market always wants to be one step ahead. So as of right now, I don't think negative rates is something that is actively going to weigh on the pound, but it definitely is something that will something to look at, because every month they sort of release a statement, and every month it seems like they get closer and closer and closer and closer and closer to that negative rate. They've sort of said stuff about it and then backtracked. Oh, we're just thinking about it. No, I think it's a good idea. Well, we don't know if it's going to work. They've said a lot of conflicting messages, members of the Bank of England. But this is going to be something to look at, right? Just keep in mind if they do mention more stuff about it, it could be, it could weigh on the British pound. Now, COVID. COVID is something we're going to also be looking at. So the UK has gone into a bit further lockdown over the last few weeks because of the big bad coronavirus, this little germ that is taking the world by storm. So they've gone back into sort of a lockdown in the UK, which has also weighed a bit on the British pound. However, I think pretty soon, vaccines coming out in the next couple weeks, for sure the next couple months, lockdowns will, I think, be over with, and that should sort of help support the economy for the UK and also support the pound, obviously, once lockdown's over with. So I really don't think there's too much more downside in terms of COVID for the UK, in terms of lockdowns at least. So that's what I see on that front, pretty much. That's my idea. And as far as that, really, those are the main drivers. Those are going to be the main factors on what's going to drive the pound. So yeah, I hope this video was informative. I'm going to try to make my video a little bit shorter like this video is from now on, because in the past I've done like 20, 25-minute videos, and, viewer retention is really small, once you get past like the 15-minute mark. So I'm going to be trying to do these shorter videos, but produce more of them, because, I've been pretty bad about posting, partially because it just takes so long to film one. But I think if I do shorter ones, then it will be a lot easier in terms of editing and everything else. So anyways, if you enjoyed the video, give it a big thumbs up. See, I would try to draw a thumbs up, but I can't. I'm not a good, artist, so I'm just doing a check mark. So give it a big thumbs up. Give it a big thumbs up down there. If you aren't already, do subscribe as well. And yeah, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I will see you in the next one.
I come from a town where most of the people are so close-minded. They go into school and they work in a job, but they don't even like it. I won't be put in a box. Nobody telling me what I should rock. Nobody telling me what I should